Tuberculosis, an oil spill, and The Godfather are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is March 24th, 2021. It is the 83rd day of the year. We got 282 days left in 2021. It is the 12th Wednesday and the 5th day of spring. We got 89 days till summer, and it is 337 days until Abe Vigoda would have turned 100 years old. Yeah, he died in 2016. Today is World Tuberculosis Day. World Tuberculosis Day, also known as World TB Day, seeks to raise awareness of tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is a bacterial infection disease that affects the lungs. It is estimated that in 2019, 10 million people fell ill with tuberculosis and 1.6 million died from the disease. World Tuberculosis Day is a World Health Organization holiday that is observed annually on March 24th. All right, let's see what else March 24th has given us. 1832 in Hiram, Ohio, a group of men beat then tar and feather Mormon leader Joseph Smith. I guess the locals were pissed at his new group just showing up, and they had far too much power and control over politics in the local community, and the locals just had enough. And so they took it to Joseph Smith and one of his sidekicks. 1907, the first issue of Georgian Bolsheviks newspaper Dro is published. I doubt I pronounced any of that right. 1965, images from Ranger 9 lunar probe are broadcast live on network television. That was like the first time I think we broadcasted live some space stuff. Pretty interesting. 1976 in Argentina, the armed forces overthrow the constitutional government of President Isabel Perón and start a 7-year dictatorship called the National Reorganization Process. Yeah, it's weird. So she's not to be confused with Eva Perón or Evita or whatever her name was. Evita was Juan Perón's second wife. Isabel Perón was his third wife. 1980, El Salvadoran Archbishop Oscar Romero is assassinated while celebrating Mass in San Salvador. Yeah, they killed him while he was in the middle of Mass. 1989, in the Prince William Sound in Alaska, the Exxon Valdez spills 240,000 barrels of crude oil after running into a reef. This was a nightmare. The Exxon Valdez oil spill occurred in Prince William Sound on March 24th, 1989, when the Valdez, an oil tanker owned by Exxon, bound for Long Beach, California, struck the Prince William Sound's Bligh Reef. Prince William Sound is very remote and only accessible by helicopter, plane, or boat. This made getting people and resources to the spill slow and difficult. The whole region is a habitat for whales, salmon, sea otter, seals, other seabirds. The loss of sea life was massive, both immediate and long-term. Losses included the deaths of between 100,000 and 250,000 seabirds, at least 2,800 sea otters, 12 river otters, 300 harbor seals, 247 bald eagles, and 22 orca perished during and immediately after the spill. The unknown number of salmon and herring loss, they don't even have a clue, but it devastated the fishing industry in this area for many years. As you can imagine, there were a ton of lawsuits. Originally, they were ordered to pay about $5 billion in punitive damages. Well, that got reduced, and then they took to the Supreme Court, and it was all this big argument, and they said that no, this was excessive because they'd spent $2 billion already on the cleanup, and there were punitive damages owed, but not in the $4 billion area. Now keep in mind, this was 1989. $4 billion is a lot of money, but it was a lot more back then. But the court cases went on, and it eventually got lowered to $2.5 billion, and then they went to the Supreme Court, which oddly enough, one of the Supreme Court justices, Samuel Alito, I never get his name right. He owned a bunch of stock in Exxon, so he had to recuse himself. But the case went forward. The Supreme Court said that because of maritime law and all these other different things, that Exxon shouldn't be paying that much money in damages. So they knocked it down to $507 million. That's it. Now, granted, they did pay their $2.5 in cleanup. Now they had to pay another $507 million. They, of course, tried to argue that was excessive, and this went on, and they wanted to pay just $25 million, and it went on and on and on. And finally, on December 15th, 2009, so 20 years later, Exxon paid the $507.5 million in punitive damages, including lawsuit costs plus interest, which were further distributed to thousands of plaintiffs. So it was a nightmare, and if you were around 1989 watching all the things going on, this just took up our news cycle for months. It was incredible. 2003, the Arab League votes 21-1 in favor of a resolution demanding the immediate and unconditional removal of U.S. and British soldiers from Iraq. Movies released on March 24th, 1972, The Godfather. Actor Marlon Brando won an Academy Award for Best Actor in the leading role as Don Corleone. I mean, this movie had everyone in it. The aforementioned Abe Vigoda, Al Pacino, Robert Duvall, James Caan, Diane Keaton, Talia Shire. You know, this was Francis Ford Coppola's best movie ever. I mean, 1972, he's done some great movies, but this one all the way back in 1972 is when he obviously peaked. Great movie, though. If you ever watch old Casey Neistat vlogs, in the background he has a TV that has The Godfather on a loop. So whenever you see a shot of his office, you could see this one screen has some portion of The Godfather playing. It's pretty interesting. Born on March 24th, 1930, Steve McQueen, American actor and producer. I did not know he had died in 1980. I thought he was into the 90s. No, 1980. I can't believe that's when he died. That's incredible. Just seems like he didn't die that long ago. It's 41 years ago? Wow. Died on March 24th, 2008, Richard Widmark, American actor. He was born in 1914. He was in True Colors in 1991, Against All Odds, which was a great movie, Who Dares to Win, Bear Island, The Swarm, Coma, Roller Coaster, which I loved as a kid, The Sellout, The Moonshine War, Cheyenne Autumn, The Long Ships, which I've seen a couple times, and in The Alamo. He goes all the way back to the 1940s, but yeah, this guy was a Hollywood mainstay for quite some time. He retired from acting in 2001. He died after a long illness on March 24, 2008 at his home in Roxbury, Connecticut at the age of 93. Widmark's failing health in his final years were aggravated by a fall he suffered in 2007. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go forth, have a great day, be successful, and be nice to each other.